Okay, today we're going to take a look back at 2024, look ahead to 2025. We're going to talk a little bit about my travel, my workshops, my YouTube channel, and even my own photography goals for the year. I think this is an important thing for a landscape photographer to do, sort of look back at how the previous year was, what the year ahead looks like, set some goals, just sort of figure out where you're going. I think that little time of reflection is important. But before we go, it's wet, it's rainy, it's going to get windy, so I am going to fix another lens to one of my camera bodies just so that I don't have to do any kind of swaps if it does start to rain harder, and get some boots going, and we'll head off on the trail and we'll talk a little bit about 2024 and looking ahead to 2025. So what we're heading out with today is we're going out with the 24 to 120 on the Z7 II, and then we're just going to put the wide angle on the Z6 II here real quick. I did not bring my 100 to 400 today. Don't want to do a whole bunch of lens swaps. This area is not always the most friendly to a 100 to 400, so we're just going with these two lenses to get us going. So we'll get that fixed on here. Perfect. And rearrange some things in the pack so this all fits right. But yeah, that way I don't have to do any lens swaps in case the rain really starts to pick up or something like that. So that'll be handy. Normally I record on the Pocket 3, but we're going with the Action 4 today just because I'm expecting some rain. So that'll be a little more robust out there. Got the bag packed, got the microfiber cloths out there. Breaking out the big boots today. Trails are going to be wet and muddy. So let's get these boots on. So I do one of these videos every year since I've had my YouTube channel, and it's just really a look back at the year before, what worked well, what didn't, and it's sort of a look at the year ahead. I think it's important for all photographers, whether you're a hobbyist, semi-pro, pro, to sort of take that time and look back and think and reflect and plan ahead for the year so that you're making sure that you're practicing and working on the right things and continue to move forward. If you're a hobbyist, you just want better pictures, more consistent pictures. And I think this time of reflection is good for that. Now, these particular videos are never the best performing on the channel, but it's important enough that I think it's worth taking the time to do it. And I think it's worth for me to do it on camera, to do these reflections, just to sort of show how important it is, whether it gets the views or not. Even if just a couple photographers out there listen to this advice and sort of take it to heart and do it, I think it's well worth doing. So I do them every year. So with that, let's move on down the trail a little bit and let's talk about travel, 2024 travel, and looking ahead to 2025. So one of my goals for 2024 was to be a little more deliberate with my travel. If you go back to my last year's video, you'll see in 2023 I traveled a lot. And I was pretty much saying yes to everything. And it just sort of led me to feel a little run down, a little ragged from some of the travel. And 2024 is supposed to be more deliberate. So I'm happy to say I did get to travel a good amount in 2024. I was happy with that. I felt like I was a little more deliberate about it, sort of planned trips instead of just saying yes to everything and getting pulled too many different directions and running too ragged. So last year, 2024, I did make it back out to Death Valley, made it over to Lone Pine, did a little mini conference over in Lone Pine, which was amazing. And then let's see, from there I had a couple Arizona trips. I had one in the spring, one in the summer. Did some West Virginia trips as normal. That was mainly for a workshop, but I headed out to West Virginia and did a couple of Great Smoky Mountain trips as well, sort of scouting trips down there. I got a couple of those in the early to late fall, which was a great time. And of course, I got my normal Hocking Hills trips like we see here. This is my local stomping grounds, and these just always happen. So 2024 was a good year of travel. I felt pretty good about it. Looking ahead to 2025, I'm really not looking at changing a whole lot of things. Continue to be deliberate with my travel. Like I said, I felt pretty good coming through 2024. Probably could have done another trip or two, but I'm probably right about right. 2025, a lot of my travel is going to be workshop based. We're going to talk a little more about workshops and how my workshops are growing in a later segment. But a lot of my travel in 2025 will be centered around workshops: Hocking Hills workshop, West Virginia workshop, Great Smoky Mountains workshop, and Death Valley workshop. And of course, my one-on-ones tend to take me different places as well. I do one-on-ones here in my local park, and I've started also doing more one-on-ones in other areas, either in conjunction with one of my larger group workshops or just traveling a little more regionally to do some one-on-one. So there will be some travel associated with that as well. And might try to sneak in a trip to Arizona. I'm just a big fan of Arizona, so I may sneak a trip into Arizona. And then there's a potential fall photography conference happening out in Colorado in early October that we'll see how that sort of materializes, but I wouldn't mind trying to hit that. But that's pretty much my 2025. Felt pretty good about how 2024 went. Want to keep 2025 right around the same pace. Now, I said a lot of that's going to be workshop travel, but this year, one of the things I'm doing, instead of arriving like the afternoon before a workshop and then leaving the day the workshop ends, I'm trying to pad it on both ends so I get a little bit more time ahead of the workshop and behind the workshop to do my own personal thing. Some of it will be scouting for a workshop, but some of it will be focused on my photography. So any of these trips I'm doing in 2025 for a workshop, I'm trying to pad the trip so that I have time to do my own photography and not just lead the workshop. So we'll see how 2025 goes. Like I said, pretty close to it on 2024, like the right feel. I think 2025 is looking good. Okay, moving on to workshops. 2024 was sort of a regrouping of workshops for me. I intentionally cut my workshop schedule back a bit so I could focus on having a bigger and better 2025. Now, I still ran workshops in 2024. I ran my Hocking Hills workshop right here. That was great. That's a one-day workshop in the spring, always awesome. I did several one-on-one sessions, both in person at various locations here in Hocking Hills, over Western Ohio. I did virtual one-on-one sessions, so I still had all of those going on. I wasn't going to do a multi-day workshop in 2024, but I did end up running a West Virginia workshop. It was great. I had great attendance. I had a great time out there. That was a fall trip in 2024. Now, one of my goals for 2024, why I scaled back workshops, is so I could scout some new areas. In 2025, I'm looking to expand and start leading workshops in some new locations. And so in 2024, I did get some scouting done. Like I said, we talked about it in travel. I visited Death Valley, Great Smoky Mountains National Park, did those trips. And then part of 2024 was just trying to wrap my head around the logistics of National Park Service permitting. There's certain requirements there that had to get all lined up and in the application process. So 2024 was really sort of a regroup, which takes me to 2025, which I'm super excited about. In 2025, I'm really pushing the workshops. I'm expanding the locations, still sort of small steps. And I will be keeping my Hocking Hills workshop in the spring, and I'll be keeping my West Virginia workshop, doing it in the fall of 2025. But I'm adding the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. For this particular workshop, I'm partnering up with Michael Rung. If you're not familiar with Michael Rung, I've been friends with him for quite a while. We photographed together in California, Lone Pine area earlier this year. But he just has a great style, super laid back, really a Lightroom guru. So that's going to be great, in addition to just his eye for woodland scenes and things like that. Should have lots of great editing tips on how to maximize the use of Lightroom. So Michael Rung and I will be doing the Great Smoky Mountains National Park workshop, but it's going to be in April 2025. So there's still a few spots open for that. So be sure to sign up. 2 workshop leaders, still a small group, and you'll get both me and Michael Rung on that one. And then my other new location I'm adding in 2025 is Death Valley. Now that one's later in the year, early December of 2025. I've done several trips out to Death Valley. I really like it, really enamored with it. Just some really great, unique scenes and terrain and everything. It's just a great trip. Timing it after Thanksgiving, before Christmas, that early December should be good weather, should be a good time. So be sure to keep an eye out for that one. And of course, also in 2025, I'm still doing a one-on-one, so you can always schedule a one-on-one. We customize those for you. We can either do them here in Central Ohio, Hocking Hills area. We can arrange travel. I've had one-on-ones where I travel a little bit, just we throw on a travel cost, take care of it that way. And then also in 2024, which I didn't mention, I did do several Camera Club talks, presentations, looking to expand that or at least maintain that going into 2025. So I already have a small local conference lined up to be a speaker at. Excited about that. That's happening, if I recall correctly, end of March, mid-March, late March. That's a Central Ohio conference. Looking forward to that, talking about my landscape photography there. And then I'm continuing to seek out and look for other presentation opportunities, camera club talks. If you've got a small local conference, I would like to continue that. So I'll be looking out for those opportunities going into 2025 as well. So I'm really excited about 2025 for workshops. This, like I said, it's sort of a growth year, new locations. Hope to expand even more in 2026, but looking forward to 2025. Okay, next up we've got the YouTube channel and just how it's been going. So 2024 is pretty good to me. I'm pretty happy with how it went. I did hit 5,000 subscribers, which was one of my 2024 goals. And I have to call out special thanks to Darren Spoonley for that. Towards the end of the year here, just about a week and a half ago, every year since 2019, he's been highlighting 5 YouTubers doing landscape photography on his channel. And this year I was one of the ones highlighted. And that was really a great year-end boost to the channel. I was questioning whether I was going to hit 5,000, but thanks to Darren and his sharing my channel, that really sort of threw me over that 5,000 goal. Super happy about that. Be sure to check out Darren's channel. He's a really great photographer. He's been doing this for a while. I'll put a link to his channel down below, but check out Darren. He's a super cool guy, and I really appreciate him because he's sort of what helped get me past that 5,000 mark to let me end 2024 on a high note. Beyond that, really the YouTube channel, I see it as a marathon. It's not a sprint. It takes a lot of work getting out there every week to create videos, edit videos, coming up with something new to talk about. Luckily, like I talk about with my own photography, I enjoy the process. I enjoy the whole thing. It's fun getting out. Sometimes it makes me get out. Sometimes it's you know, you're going out and you're just recording. But overall, the YouTube channel has been a great thing, and I'm pretty happy with where it's at. Going into 2025, there's not a whole lot I want to change, but just sort of keep the pace I'm going. I don't really feel like I'm close to burnout or anything with that. I think I've got a reasonable pace. I'm probably a little still gear heavy video wise, talking about gear, and which is a little odd because I'm really not a huge gear person. If you've seen my reviews, you know I tend to say I don't look at the MTF charts. I'm more concerned with how it works in the field. But I also know new landscape photographers, or even experienced landscape photographers, if you're just looking for information about a piece of gear, it's nice to hear what someone else thinks about it. So with that, I try to strive to talk about what works in the field, what doesn't work in the field, and give honest reviews. I try, I don't know, I don't do a whole lot of product placement or anything. Stuff that I do have affiliates with tends to be stuff I trust and want to use. But with that said, I'm still a little gear heavy. It's just what people are interested in. In 2024, I did branch into the editing side of things. I did a few more Lightroom videos, even did some videos on Affinity. I will continue to do that as I work to grow my own editing skills. I'll continue to hit those topics. Vlogging, still big on my list. I struggle to get out and just vlog. I think that would be a great way, because a lot of times I go out and I don't necessarily have a piece of gear to talk about, a composition concept or photography concept, but just being able to craft that into a story that people could follow along. I think I've got enough of a following now that people want to see how I do things, but my skill set there still sort of lags. So for 2025, I think if we're looking at where I want to go with the channel, keep doing what I'm doing. Aim for my weekly video release. You know, I'll still do my gear stuff, but again, really try to put some of that time in on the vlog and learning how to vlog a little bit better, because like I said, I think I've got enough subscribers now that people want to see about me and what I do. I just need to practice that, so when people watch those, they're entertained and not just like, okay, I would like to see this, but he's terrible at it. So vlogging's probably the big thing, and really just sort of keep the pace I'm going. I hesitate to say what my subscriber goal is for 2025. I think some of it's I question whether I can hit it, but hey, that's what this video here is for, right? So my goal would be to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. That's double what I've got now. So that's quite the push, but I guess set your goals sort of high and then shoot for those, and at least I'll continue the growth. So anyways, that's the YouTube channel. I think it's going well, and looking forward to 2025, and I hope you follow along with me. Okay, and now we're down to my photography. How did it go in 2024 for my photography? And what am I looking to accomplish in 2025? Well, first, 2024, I had 2 goals going into it. Small scenes photography, learn to embrace it, learn to see small scenes better, improve my just small scenes photography overall. I think small scenes photography is the natural evolution of a landscape photographer. I've talked about that in the past. And I think it's because we've become more in tune with nature, and even here, this waterfall. I've seen this, I've lost count of how many times I've seen it. So in order to keep things interesting, you need to become more in tune with what's around you so you can find some interesting scenes and continue to stay engaged. I think it's a positive that when I show up here that, you know, unless I have spectacular conditions, I may not photograph this. and the curiosity of looking around at the smaller things is important. So that was one of my goals. My other one was improve my editing. Just over the years, I just feel like I don't have an editing style yet per se, and I'm sort of like all over the place. So overall, that went fairly well. On the small scenes front, I feel like I can now identify them better, but composing them well is going to be the next step. So now I think I can go out and I can find small scenes. It's not natural yet, but it's getting easier to see. It's a little easier for me to see what might make a good scene. Now, once I find that scene, it still takes some effort, and I still need some work on making that scene something interesting, composing it well. On the editing side of things, I feel like I did make strides, mainly in that I've become more confident in the tools I use. I've danced around between editing and Photoshop, doing basic edits in Lightroom, bigger edits in Photoshop. I played around with Affinity Photo this year, and I've sort of fallen back to Lightroom again, where I'm doing most of my heavy lifting, mainly because Adobe just keeps making it better and better. There's still some advantages to Photoshop. I'll still pop in there here and there, but I think sort of settling in on the tool has helped. Learning the tools within Adobe Lightroom to use them well, know how they work at a more than casual manner has been an improvement for me this year in 2024. With that said, I still don't know if I'm piecing all the tools together. So I've sort of learned the tools in the toolbox. Now I need to learn how to put all those tools together to get something I'm happy with. So that takes me to 2025. What am I looking to do? Really, it's gonna be very similar to 2024. 2025, I still want to improve my small scenes photography. I feel like 2024 took me to I can recognize them a little better. 2025 is gonna be come up with interesting compositions with them. So now it's easier for me to find them. Let me make interesting images from them. So that's gonna be an area that I work on in 2025. And then on the editing front, I still feel like I have room to improve there. I'm guessing most landscape photographers say they have room to improve on the editing side. But what I want to do is I want to take all the tools that I learned and worked on in 2024 from Adobe Lightroom, sort of piece them together more cohesively so I tend to know where I'm taking an image a little better. I've got the big building blocks. Now I just want to polish it up and make some progress in my editing. So that'll be another area for my photography that I focus on in 2025. So we'll see how that goes. So that's my look at 2024 and what I'm looking to do in 2025. Like I said, I know this video is not going to do the greatest, but I think it's important. And like I said earlier, if even just 1, 2, 3 photographers take this moment to realize they should reflect back on 2024, what worked well for them, where they want to go in 2025, this whole video will be worth it. From there, it sort of keeps me honest, and it makes me take that moment to reflect on my photography and what I'm doing with photography and where I want it to go. And I think this is important whether you're a hobbyist photographer that only gets out a couple times a year, to a semi-pro, to someone trying to figure out how to make money from photography. I really think this time of reflection is important. Whether, like I said, if you're a hobbyist and you're just trying to make those images better, if you can make each outing a little more productive than the last one, be a little happier, a little more satisfied with your images, you're moving in the right direction. It's going to keep it fun for you and keep going like that. If you're a semi-pro, pro photographer, you know, there's a lot of pressure. It keeps those images looking good, the business side of things. So taking that moment to reflect in this busy, chaotic time of just trying to make things work is important. So I do hope you take that time, reflect on your 2024, look ahead to 2025. And I'd love to know down in the comments how your 2024 went. Did it go well? Did it not go well? What went well? What didn't? And what do you want to do in 2025? Do you want to travel more? Do you want to work on your editing? Just getting out more? Just let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear how your photography's gone in 2024 and what you're looking to do in the year ahead. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, be sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see future landscape photography content from me, including tips, tricks, behind the scenes, and mini gear reviews, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And thank you for watching.